Here's a true story about how pay, when it went up, performance went up, and when it went down, performance went down. And the true story about how pay drives performance. The ups and downs of pay and compensation. When performance matters, pay matters. The first mini case was how our pay did not keep up with our competitors. As the competitors' pay went up and up and up, ours stayed pretty flat. And the results of that, the market didn't get worse, our product didn't change, our sales team suddenly didn't forget how to sell, but things got drastically worse, and it all had to do with compensation. That's how sensitive compensation is to what you're trying to achieve. Then on the flip side, what happened when we drastically increased the comp plan and our pay, and what happened as a result? That was a fun time. To give you some context, I was working as a salesperson in the door-to-door company, Vivint Solar at the time, and then later as a leader in that same company, and later as we merged with Sunrun. So for 10 plus years leading teams, I've gone through the ups and downs, through market changes, through market shifts, through industry changes, industry shifts, companies coming into the space, leaving, companies trying to make it, couldn't quite figure it out in a very competitive space. Maybe they were there for a couple years, maybe they're there for 5 years, seen a lot of companies come and go, seen one company in particular come back as Tesla. Working with salespeople day in, day out, I can testify about how pay and compensation directly impacts day-to-day mentality, the motivations, everything associated with how they're trying to do their job, it affects it. So when you change the pay structure, you're going to change the behavior, good or bad. Okay, so here's what happened in the first scenario. I'll give you some context. We'll go back in time a little bit. So at the time, I was working in Maryland. Solar industry was very, very new. Hardly anyone had solar on their home. There was a few small competitors here and there, a few small contractors in each state, but Solar City was kind of the big dog, and they were the one to really crack the residential and really get a lot of good traction in the residential space, offering solar energy for homes. Along came Vivint Solar, and they spun off from Vivint Smart Home. That was a part of a team that I started with. They just come from the Vivint Smart Home, so they knew how to sell. They just had to figure out a different product. I joined about 6 months later into that team. They'd already had it figured out and already had it dialed. And so our growth from that point was tremendous. So the early stages, our growth was like a rocket ship. It was a great product to sell, great teammates to sell with, great leaders to sell with. We knew our ins and outs on how to sell. At that time, our pay was pretty much the same as every other company, give or take just a small fraction. But things changed. We're going to go over to the notebook and kind of draw it out, explain a little bit better for you right there. It's time to get the markers ready. Okay, let's take you back to memory road here. So I'm going to draw a timeline for you. So now here's a time. So here's going to be the start, and this is going to be pay along this line. So to start, again, our pay structure here, Vivint Solar, we were doing good. We're excited. We're happy to be selling the product. Solar City, maybe slightly above, but basically the same. You also had other competitors over here. And what happened is, as time went on, our pay stayed the same. We had a great company, first off. Like, we had tremendous company, tremendous leadership. I believed in our company, believed in what we were doing. I really believed in the end we would win. But you had other companies really increasing their pay through a year, 2 years' time. All of a sudden, other competitors were in the industry, same thing. Their pay was going up. That might be Sunrun, this might be SunPower. And then over time, what happened is just the gap. We didn't necessarily cut our pay, but just the gap was very big. And so what happened at this time, there was this awakening among a lot of people in the industry. It was kind of a gold rush a little bit to people get in the solar industry. A lot of companies get in, a lot of people getting in that weren't even in the sales industry like myself, getting in and starting to sell. And it was this rush to get a big part of the market. There's a rush for yourself to sell a lot, to make a lot of money. And what happened though in this great awakening here is people started to realize the difference here. A lot of people all of a sudden here in this gap, the talent started to go bye-bye, started to leave. You had a lot of competitors come in. Certain number of our own people went to other competitors, but also they started their own companies and they started doing, hey, if I'm going to do this, I might as well make a lot more money doing it, run the company, yeah, it's going to be a lot more, but the upside's there. So you had some top performers. Now there's less of top performers in the company. The average reps, because of frustrations, etc., the average rep went down, numbers went down, morale went down, frustration increased, stagnation, etc., increased at that time. Now, were people doing a good job? Was the company overall doing well? Yes, but there was this underlying tone that you compare over here to here, and it was things like, oh man, I could go somewhere else, get paid a lot more, because they could see kind of the comparing apples to apples here. Now all of a sudden the frustrations now outweighed the results in your pay. So fast forward a few years, when what happens, a couple of years, is our company, Vivint Solar, we decided to jump the pay. Now all of a sudden our pay went way up. Like way up. Okay. What happened here? Now all of a sudden a talent comes back. People literally sold their companies, didn't want to have the hassle with the company. They can come, they could just work, do a good job selling. They can make as much money as owning their own company. So why not do that? Okay. The competition now, because of that, is lessened. So we got people in our house from other people. So we're growing, they're decreasing. Top performers now all of a sudden realize, oh wow, this is amazing. I love it. I'm going to keep working. Like, this is unreal. I'm going to keep going. Average rep could see, oh my gosh, I can make life-changing money here if I do really well, if I get really focused. Average rep pay went up. Started hiring a lot more people. So a lot more talent went up. The energy goes up. And then obviously the company's growth went up also. Now, how did that affect the bottom line? Well, it cut into the profits a little bit short term, but long term, basically, Solar City, they go out of business. SunPower, they go out of business. Just became kind of almost a two-man race. Solar City eventually became Tesla. They came back as Tesla. Uncle Elon there. And obviously, we still know Tesla does solar, but more batteries now than anything else. It kind of came a two-man race between Vivint Solar and Sunrun. If you look it up, you can see Sunrun purchases Vivint Solar, and the two companies, in practice, it was more of a merger, but anyway, they became the leader in the industry. Now, your pay might not be that drastic, right? But you can just see how pay affects. And so again, going back, this was not a pay decrease, but compared to the market, it was a pay decrease. And you can see the results of that. So we lived it, we breathed it, and I'm glad I stayed where I was at, because eventually our pay got bumped up. I had a lot of security, I had a lot of growth through that company, and obviously I loved what I was doing. So often when we're looking at motivation and what motivates our people, we might be tempted to be like, hey, let's push them. Or, hey, we need to get in their head and we need to see what's working. We need to give them some motivational speeches, so to speak. We need to coach them up, that kind of thing. But if we look at pay and that structure of pay, that's going to be the biggest driver in motivation for your team. Salespeople typically don't respond to motivation. They respond to what they're paid for. They don't rise to our expectations. They rise to the level of the compensation. That's the truth. So if you want different results, you kind of got to look at things a little bit differently. And that doesn't mean you got to be the top paying company out there. What it means is you got to be very competitive. Stop coaching harder. Stop trying to be the motivational guy or gal in your organization and try to get people to your level. You really got to look at compensation as a key factor. Now, there's ways how you can structure your comp plan without actually spending more total on your comp plan structure. You just got to pay your low performers a lot less and pay the high performers what they're worth. So check out that video. It'll walk you through kind of how to do that. Your comp plan is already shaping behaviors. Your comp plan is designed to get the behaviors that it was designed to get. So you have to look at the structure of your compensation plan. You have to look how things were designed. And then you can see, hey, are we off in our comp plan and what the behaviors we want to get? Are they aligned really well? If you have a lot of motivated people around, most likely your comp plan's doing well. So congrats. Sometimes it's just nice knowing that you're doing things the right way. If you have a lot of unmotivated people, ungrateful people, you might want to look at your comp plan. Now, that doesn't mean that if you have a great comp plan that everyone's going to be motivated, everyone's going to be super grateful. That's not what we're saying. But just generally speaking, you got to look at comp plan. It's the first place to start when you're looking at team motivations. I have a resource for you. So I developed a team sales quiz for leaders, CEOs, business owners, founders. So take this team sales quiz. It'll grade you on the 5 proven sales systems and how you're doing in each one. Compensation happens to be obviously one of those. But get a grade, get your scorecard, how you're doing in each one of those, and also give you real life action tips on how to move that forward without really breaking the bank. And so check that out. There's a link in the description. Take that quiz, get the results, and then we'll link up if you feel like you want to link up and learn a little bit more.